This is what diamonds buy when the billionaire hates attention. There are mansions that scream new money. And then there are estates that don't scream at all, because they don't need to. Hidden in Johannesburg's old money hills sits a property so private, so controlled, and so legacy-coded that people online started calling it a forbidden $7 billion diamond estate, which sounds insane, because this isn't a palace with gold toilets. This is something way scarier, a 16-hectare private world owned by the family that helped shape the global diamond business for decades, where the real flex isn't marble, it's time. Historic architecture, one of the most famous private gardens in South Africa, a private Africana library stacked with rare books, manuscripts, maps and art, and access so limited it feels like a members-only club with hedges. So today, we're doing the closest thing you can get to an exclusive inside tour without crossing any lines, no trespassing, no guessing private layouts, only publicly documented features and what's been described through official and historical sources. And near the end, I'll explain the truth behind the $7 billion label, because it's not what most people think. Welcome to Billionaire Blueprint. Who is Nicky Oppenheimer, and why is this place diamond-coded? Nicky Oppenheimer is not just a rich guy in South Africa. He's the heir to the De Beers diamond legacy, part of the family that held enormous influence over the diamond trade for generations. And when the Oppenheimer family sold their remaining stake in De Beers to Anglo American, it was reported as a $5.1 billion deal, one of those moments that basically ends an era. Around that same time, major reporting referenced the family's fortune as sitting around the $7 billion range, based on Forbes estimates. And that right there is where the viral nickname starts. Because people heard Diamond Billionaire, saw $7 billion, and slapped it onto the estate like it was a Zillow listing. But here's the reality. This estate is not publicly listed. It doesn't have a public price tag, and it doesn't need one. Because what you're about to see is how diamond money gets converted into something more permanent than money, legacy infrastructure. So let's pull up to the gates. Old Johannesburg money on a private ridge. Brenthurst Estate sits in Parktown, Johannesburg, an area known historically for grand old homes and serious wealth. And Brenthurst isn't just a house. It's a multi-building estate that has been the Oppenheimer family's traditional home since the early 1920s. First Sir Ernest, then Harry, then Nicky and his family. Now, the first spec that matters: land. An archived De Beers Diamond Route page describes Brenthurst as a 16-hectare estate. That's roughly 40 acres. Other references commonly describe the gardens themselves as around 45 acres. Either way, this is not big backyard territory. And on a ridge like this, size isn't just luxury. Size is distance. Distance from traffic. Distance from noise. Distance from people who think they can just pull up. And if you're wondering why people call it forbidden, it's because this place isn't designed for random visitors. When access happens, it's typically controlled, booked tours, limited numbers, special openings. Now we go deeper, because the estate doesn't just hide behind gates, it hides behind trees. The arrival, the estate that eats sound. One of the weirdest flexes about Brenthurst is that it doesn't feel like a mansion first. It feels like a forest. Some public descriptions talk about huge trees, sweeping views over the historic Saxonwald area, basically a green shield that makes the city feel far away. And here's a detail I love because it's such a quiet luxury move. There's an avenue of old plane trees described as forming a kind of natural cathedral effect. When wind moves through the trunks and leaves, that's the tone. Not "look at my chandelier," more like "look at my private weather." And tucked within that greenery are multiple structures, not just one. Which brings us to the estate's layout. The buildings, not one house, a whole compound of heritage. Brenthurst is part of Johannesburg's famous Parktown mansions story, large historic homes, designed in an era when the city's elite built estates on ridges. Public historical writing notes that Sir Ernest Oppenheimer bought a large Parktown property described as 20 hectares, including a Herbert Baker-designed mansion and over time, the estate included multiple homes and additions. You'll hear names like Brenthurst, the main house, Little Brenthurst, a smaller home on the grounds, and later structures built to support the family's collections and living needs. The important part isn't the room count, it's the concept. This isn't a rich person's house, this is a dynasty headquarters. Which makes sense, because the diamond business was never just about money. It was about control, organization, and long timelines. And nothing on this estate communicates long timeline more than the thing it's most famous for. The Gardens, a world-class garden built like a living museum. Brenthurst Gardens is widely described as one of South Africa's great private gardens, attached to the Oppenheimer family residence in Johannesburg. But here's what makes it feel unreal. It isn't just beautiful, it's engineered biodiversity. The De Beers Diamond Route Archive describes the gardens as extremely diverse, inspired by African surroundings filled with indigenous and endemic plants, and sustained organically, basically a private ecosystem that's designed to live in balance. Then there's the wildlife flex. That same archive mentions 78 bird species recorded on the property. Think about that in an urban setting, and the gardens aren't one uniform style. They're described as a number of unique and individual gardens designed to work as one harmonious whole. Other public descriptions mention sections like a Japanese garden, a rose garden, and themed areas, basically different moods inside one property. Now here's a retention moment. You'd think the craziest garden feature would be something like a sculpture or a pool. But one of the most surprising publicly noted details is an unexpected waterfall on the estate. A waterfall in Johannesburg. That's not just landscaping. That's someone bending geography to match their vibe. And the deeper you go, the more you realize this garden isn't decoration. It's a filter. It blocks sound. It blocks sight lines. It blocks the outside world. And when you're the kind of family that ran a global luxury commodity for decades, privacy isn't a preference, it's a requirement. But the gardens aren't the real diamond vault of this estate, because the most valuable thing here might not sparkle at all. It's paper. The Brenthurst Library, the real treasure room. This is where the vibe shifts from luxury to legacy. On the grounds is the Brenthurst Library, a private Africana library tied to the Oppenheimer family's long-running collection of Southern African historical materials. And according to the library's own description, the collection includes books and pamphlets, manuscripts, maps, artworks, photographs, and postcards. It also notes that in 2023, the Brenthurst collection of Southern African art was relocated from the Johannesburg Art Gallery to the library. Now here's what makes it forbidden coded. Even enthusiastic heritage writers describe the library as by appointment only, which makes sense because this isn't a public museum. It's a private cultural vault with public value-level artifacts. And there's history behind why it exists on site. Historical writing notes that Sir Ernest renovated a cottage on the estate to house his library collection. Then later, as the collection outgrew household storage, a dedicated library building was constructed on the property to properly house and manage it. That is such a billionaire move. Most people collect watches. They collected the recorded memory of an entire region, and they built a building just to protect it. So when people ask, where are the diamonds? That's the twist. The diamonds funded the empire, but the estate is built to protect something that outlasts diamonds in history, the Diamond Route connection. This wasn't random, it was branded. Here's a detail most viral videos skip. Brenthurst wasn't just a private garden. It was featured as a site on De Beers Diamond Route, which framed certain locations around heritage, conservation, and the positive legacy narrative connected to diamonds. That's important because it tells you how the estate is positioned, not just as wealth, as a story about legacy, nature, and culture built on top of diamond money. And that's how billionaire estates work. The best ones don't just look expensive, they justify themselves. Which brings us to the big question. So, is it really a $7 billion estate? Okay, pause. Because I don't want you leaving this video believing something that isn't publicly confirmed. There is no reliable public document that says Brenthurst Estate cost $7 billion. The $7 billion number you see in titles is much closer to the family's fortune estimate around the time of the De Beers sale, reported by major outlets referencing Forbes estimates. But here's why the clickbait label sticks anyway. Because this estate's value isn't just property. It's a stack of things that are hard to price. Prime land in a historic wealthy district. Heritage architecture tied to Johannesburg's elite history. A world-class private garden engineered like a living sanctuary with documented bird life. A private library and collections with cultural value that doesn't behave like normal. Assets. And the permission factor, because limited access multiplies mystique. So, is it literally $7 billion? Probably not in any clean, provable way. But does it represent the kind of legacy wealth that makes people throw around billion-dollar numbers? Absolutely. Because this isn't a house you flip, it's a home base for a dynasty. Final takeaway. Stealth wealth isn't hiding, it's filtering. Here's the real lesson of this estate. The richest people don't always build bigger, they build deeper. They build places that are hard to access, hard to copy, and hard to even describe, because the real flex isn't showing everyone what you have. It's creating a world where you don't need anyone else. So now I want to ask you, would you rather live in a loud, glass-walled mega mansion? Or would you take an estate like this, quiet, historic, protected by gardens, with a library that feels like a private museum? Drop your answer in the comments. And if you want more exclusive tours into billionaire life, hidden estates, rare cars, outrageous homes, subscribe to Billionaire Blueprint. Because we don't just watch the rich, we study the blueprint.